the deaths in my family that put me in that funk, I probably needed to go to through that, because if I wasn't going through that, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And where I'm at right now, I'm able to help people that may have been in the type of funk or the type of situation or the type of mindset and feelings that I was in during those times.
Maniacs for life.
What's up, Maniacs? Today I'm here with
Trey from Heart of Stoke Foundation.
Trey from Heart of Stoke Foundation. How old are you, Trey?
I'm actually 43 for the last day today.
Oh, wow.
Tomorrow I'll be 44.
Nice. And you've been through a lot of life. I've known this man for, I would say, a whole year now, and he's a really awesome individual.
Appreciate you.
So, as a seed, you know, we got to go through some dirt to grow into something beautiful. Trey, what is some of the dirt that you've been through?
I'd say probably the roughest time of my life. The dirt that I've been through pretty much started when I was a young teenager. My stepfather, who raised me, he got diagnosed with leukemia, and so I lived with him while he was dying. And that was probably the roughest part of my life. My mom and I didn't get along. We were always fighting, and he was the bridge that held the family together. And a week after I had turned 13, I was in junior high, sleeping over at a friend's house. My dad died. They brought me over to my house, dropped me off. Everyone came outside, they were all crying. But that's when my life changed. I got to go inside, say my goodbyes, and that was also a point in time when my mother and my relationship began to end. We didn't get along, as I said, and he was the glue that held the family together. So when he was gone, you know, it was a rough time for me and my mother. She didn't know how to deal with things, so what she did was she left. My stepfather had paid up the rent where we were living at a duplex for a year, and my mother went out and she left. She would always be for 2 weeks at a time. She would come back for one day, find out all the trouble that I got into, and she would leave again for another 2 weeks. That was the routine until the rent money ran out. And then she went to her boyfriend's house, wanted me to move in, and I wasn't for that, and so that was the beginning of me being on my own. That's when I was homeless for a little while at a young age, sleeping in dugouts, sleeping in parks, sleeping at friends' houses, until I was able to get my own place. Really what it was I lived with a girlfriend, and we got an apartment at a young age. And at that time, you know, I didn't have any parents. I just had older friends, and I ended up getting into some trouble and was facing some jail time. One day I had a bad day, and I ran into these people that were responsible for me going to jail at the mall, and I chased them with a baseball bat to their car, jumped on the hood and started smashing out their windshield. And I was feeling rage, but what I did was start a snowball effect. And I'm sure you guys have heard of this, maybe you guys have been through it yourself, but I started out with original charges that I was facing, and then by me doing what I did, I just compounded it and I made it worse. So now I was facing even more charge for assaulting these people. And the next day I got into a fight with my mom and my girlfriend, and I decided that I just wanted to go to sleep and I didn't want to wake up anymore. I took 15 Valiums. I was drinking a 40, and I was driving through the streets in Albany, New York. That's where I'm from. And the cops started chasing me, and I had a blowout, and I couldn't go anywhere, so I got out of the truck and started running. And eventually the cops were catching up to me, but eventually everything that I had took hit me all at one time. and I collapsed in the middle of the street. The next thing I know I was in the hospital getting my stomach pumped out, and I was out of it, so I was fighting with the doctors, and I punched the doctors. So the next thing you know, I wake up in a mental hospital, and I didn't know, but I was on a suicide watch. I wanted to escape, so I opened up the door and I saw 2 cops on both sides of the door. Then I started running from the cops in a hospital, didn't know where I was at. I didn't know how to get out, but they caught up with me and they beat me up real bad. Then I woke up strapped down to a bed with blood all over my face, blood all over the bed, blood all over the pillow. I could see my mom's face through the window, and I started yelling at my mom, cussing her out. I was enraged. Then after that, they sent me to a rehab facility when it was coming near on the holidays. When I was in that rehab, though, they realized that I didn't have a drug problem. I just did what I did because I was sick of life. It was a more suicidal thing. It wasn't a drug problem. So after them realizing that, Christmas was coming up, they let me go 2 days, I think it was, before Christmas. So I was thankful for that. But like I said, that snowball effect, I still had problems to deal with because I had assaulted these people that had got me in trouble. So one day I got called in for an interview at some government place, and it was really a setup. When I got there, the cops arrested me for what I did at the mall, for smashing out their window. Went to jail, got out, but now I had all these charges. And so when I went to court, the judge says, I see you got in trouble with this, this, and this in that time frame. And so they extended my time, and they hit me with 6 months. And you know, I was barely 17 years old. I hadn't got locked up like that ever. And so, yeah, I was a little bit nervous, a little bit scared. Especially when my lawyer told me that I was only gonna have to do like a month or two. Mentally, I was prepared for that, but I wasn't prepared for the 6 months that they handed me right when I was there. And there was no going home after that. Right. You know, it was, I left from right there, right. And that's when my time started. So it's pretty rough, but out of that snowball effect, I had to change things. And when I was in there, it gave me time to realize and think about life. One of the main things that I realized was, one, you don't realize who your true friends are till you're in jail. That proved to me what true friendship is and who my real friends were. And another lesson that I learned was the pain that I was causing other people. Let me rephrase that. Also, while I was in there, I realized that the things that I was doing was not just affecting me, but it was causing pain to other people. I never realized that. I never thought about that. But when I was in there and I was talking to my grandmother, collect call on the phone, and she was crying, that's when I realized that the people that love me, they're doing time too. You know, if I'm in there for 6 months, they're in there for 6 months. You know, they may not be physically in there locked up, but they're mentally in there locked up. They're constantly worrying about you. They're crying. And their lives are disrupted until that is fixed, or until you get out, till you get past that. So realizing that was a major step, a major change, a level that I reached in my life where I knew that I had to make some changes, because I no longer wanted my grandma to cry because of the stuff that I was doing. So I had to stop that. And my mother was one of the only people that talked to me. My mother, that I didn't talk to in years, was coming over, and my girlfriend, they were all visiting me. And that's when I realized a lot of my friends were just associates. They weren't really, you know, friends. And so my mother got a job offer to come to Austin, from Albany, New York to Austin. And I started thinking, you know, what is there here for me? If I stay here, I've already did everything except die, you know, jail, hospital, mental hospital. The only thing left after that is death. With no dad, no mom, no supervision, no guidance at, you know, 17, 18 years old, just getting out of jail and having all these new thought processes, I thought that it would be best for me to go to Austin because there's nothing here for me. Only bad is going to come out of me staying here. So I decided to move to Austin. And when I moved to Austin, I left a lot of things behind, a lot changed. But I decided to come over to Austin and start a new life and a new beginning, but try to do things better this time. And then I stayed in Austin for a few years, about 10 years, and then I ended up here in Fort Worth. That was 1998 when I moved to Austin, and 2008 when I moved to Fort Worth. After I moved to Fort Worth, that was also when I had my first daughter, and we stayed there for a year, and then found out we were having twins, and we decided that it would be best to move to Fort Worth where we had more family, that we could have help with my daughter and the twins while we worked and things like that. So from that point on, it was family life, family man. I was working about 60 hours a week. I was working in the car business. I did that for almost 10 years, one way or another, working in the auto industry. I wasn't partying, wasn't doing anything like that. It was just work, and family. Family. I was with the mother of my children for 15 years. And when I worked a lot at the car dealership, when I started to find out things were happening. And my daughter started realizing that too and started telling me things. But in a nutshell, that's when I realized that my wife for 15 years was cheating on me. And mentally, I couldn't stay in the relationship. I couldn't function the same in the relationship because my mind would not allow me to. So as much as I didn't want to, I wanted my kids to have their family. The family was ruined at that point. I filed for divorce on my ex. And man, that was a really tough part of my life. We had to stay at the same house, moving back and forth every week, so that was tough. And it was during COVID. So because of that, it made the process a lot longer. The divorce took 3 years of hell, of going back and forth until this was resolved. But in the end, I got my kids, and I got the house, and she had to move out. Fast forward to now, we're on much better terms, raising our kids together, co-parenting. But at the time, we hated each other. It was horrible. So I had my kids. It's COVID time. I had my house. Across the street from my house, I lived in a regular neighborhood. Houses on both sides of the road, kids playing in the street. I lived near a cul-de-sac. But my kids grew up in that house with grandma, grandpa, and my aunt and uncle right across the street, which was awesome. We'd go across the street for barbecues every Sunday, Cowboys games, holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas would be at their houses. All of our family from out of town would come in. So it was a great time in our life. But COVID hit, like I said, and it hit my grandma, and my grandma died. And then after my grandma died, that was right before Thanksgiving 2 years ago. And so that year we didn't have Thanksgiving, we didn't have Christmas. Then a few months later, I believe it was before Thanksgiving the next year, my aunt died, the ones that lived in that house. She died also. And so that year we didn't have Thanksgiving or Christmas last year. And then a few months later after that, my grandpa died. So that fun, festive, happy household that my kids grew up with right across the street was gone. And it was sad and it was upsetting. And I was living in the house where I had a divorce, where I once had my family. So everything was sad and upsetting. So I wanted to get out of there. Sold that house, moved to another house. But when I bought the house, I didn't do it fast enough. And so I had to give my kids to my ex so they could continue school. because in the transition, I had bought a trailer, an RV, and was living in the RV. And so, like I said, I didn't have the house fast enough. It didn't happen until September. Kids start school in August. So I'm living out here in a new area, no family members across the street. Now I don't have my kids with me anymore. And I had a couple of dogs that died. One of them was old, and one of them died because the power got tripped, and they died because it was hot. So a lot of stuff happened in this last year. So it's supposed to be I went to move to be happier, and I ended up being out in the middle of nowhere by myself. No dogs, no kids, my family that was there all the time is not there anymore. And I was all by myself. I was in a relationship, a girlfriend that I had, but that was coming to an end too. And that was a bad time for me. That was after the last death in my family. That hit me a lot, because my grandparents, they raised me off and on, and my aunt, she did too. I lived with her off and on, so I was really close to them. And they were the ones that I would talk to when I needed somebody to talk to, when I needed advice, and that was gone. So I was in a really bad point in my life this time last year, missing all the holidays years in a row. Even this year we didn't have anything for Thanksgiving. It's just different now. But something good was happening, and that was there was a park that was being built off Hemp Hill and Allen Street in Fort Worth, made by Dickies, Magnolia, and that park opened up in April. They had a big, huge, grand opening. I was so much in the funk, so much sadness, so much, being upset, that I used that park and skateboarding as my therapy, my outlet, and it started working. It was bringing me out of the funk, bringing me out of the sadness. What it was I needed to be social again. I needed to get out there. I needed to be out in the sun. I needed to be active. I needed to have fun again and meet people. And so I started going to this park religiously every single day. And I've always skated off and on since I was a little kid. My dad used to skate, so skating for me has been with me through my whole life. I just wasn't consistent with it these last several years. But I started becoming consistent with it, going every single day. As I went, I started noticing that there's a lot of city kids there, a lot of kids that, could use a hand, could use guidance, could use coaching, could use, gear for skateboarding, shoes, equipment. I have a friend in Austin. He's my best friend. His name's Armand. And I know that he was connected with Heart of Stoke Foundation. Heart of Stoke Foundation is a nationwide foundation. And what they do is they have key people put in different states and different cities, the major cities like Austin. And they send products to people, skateboards, shoes, all different types of related products. And we then go out into the community and we look for those kids, the kids that are underserved, the kids that have a broken board, a kid that is borrowing somebody else's skateboard all the time. Maybe they have one of those Walmart Tony Hawk boards or a flea market board. It's just all chipped up and broken. I saw this stuff all the time. I saw a lot of kids that had amazing potential. They just didn't have the right tools. And then so there was two kids initially that I met that I noticed, and that's what spurred it. I asked my friend if he could help me out, and he said yeah. He was gonna send me a couple skateboards for them. Well, rather than my friend being the one to respond, he did initially respond. The founder of Heart of Stoke Foundation reached out to me, Vince, and he asked if I was at the Dickies Park, the new park that's been built. And I said yes. Dickies is a destination skate park. We may not, feel like it's so special because we live here, but outside of here, other states, other cities, people know about our park, and so they come over here. He knew about this park, so he was stoked that that's where I was at. And so he asked me if I wanted to be the guy for Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I said, sure. So I accepted the position as ambassador for Dallas-Fort Worth, and I got my first stoke pack. I got my first set of boards and stuff to give out. So I went to the park and I did that. I documented it. We took videos, pictures, and this is so we can keep the donations coming. So we can keep our sponsors coming and they see what the donations and everything is going towards. So I did that. I got some more stuff, documented it, started having little birthday parties for the kids, little pizza parties, started having little mini contests. I wanted to make something happen. I wanted to make something to do for the kids, so we started having contests on Sundays. Then Go Skate Day was coming up, and with Magnolia Skate Shop, I did Go Skate Day. Heart of Stoke and Magnolia did Go Skate Day. We had contests and a band out there. It was awesome. It was a great time, but that was the beginning. That was the first contest real contest that I did. And that's also when people started, hearing about Heart of Stoke and finding out what we were doing. And so then shortly after that, I got offered Director of Operations in Texas. So all the other cities I work with the people in the cities, just getting them Stoke product to give out at their skate parks and helping them with contests, which we have coming up around the corner we're going to start doing. We had another big one this last September with Scoochie, with Maniacs, with a bunch of friends that helped us out and supported, showed love, helped us out with prizes. Chaotic Zen is a huge, huge supporter of what we're doing. But we do these contests for free with major, major prizes. We have thousands of dollars worth of prizes that all go for free to the kids. We're trying to make stuff fun for them. We're trying to give them something to do. We're trying to give them incentive to get better at their craft and work harder and practice. I also have a skate team now, Heart of Stoke, Texas boys, and now we are competing. Most of them are younger, 10, 11, 12, 13. We do have a couple of them that are older, 18 and 22, but that's it. Most of them are younger. And the older guys, not only are they competing, but they're also more like coaches. They help me coach guys. Like my guy Sergio, he helps a lot, man. He helps with flyers and he helps with coaching. My guy Josh, he does the same thing, man. He's always eager to help teach the kids. These guys are really good skaters, but they're not big-headed. They're real humble, and they don't mind teaching people, and I love that about them. So now my team is growing. It's not just me, but I have these other friends that are helping me. We just had that contest last September, and Maniacs and Scoochie was there, and they helped us out a ton. And that turned out to be an amazing, amazing contest. Check for the footage on that. You guys are gonna see a great day. We had the lowriders come out, had a great scenery with all of them lined up right next to the park, and they loved watching the contest go. Had ZZ's Ice Creams come out and give away 100 free ice cream for the kids. I pulled up with 30 boxes of Little Caesars pizza for the kids. Ice chest full of cold water, all free for the kids.
The water.
Worked with Down for Life. We were giving away free haircuts. There was graffiti going on, live graffiti. All this stuff for the community, all this stuff for the kid. And we were working with the city of Fort Worth, with the rec center. Monica and Levi are amazing people. They love the kids. They feed the kids. Every day at 5 o'clock, the kids are able to go to the rec center and get free food. Stuff like chicken, stuff like spaghetti, but they do that to keep these kids going, to take care of them, and they really have a lot of love for the community. So I've been seeing a lot of that as I've been going on now, a lot of the love and a lot of the help, but every day something else happens. Every day I meet somebody else. We're right in the middle of the city, like downtown. And there's a lot of traffic going there. There's a lot of city kids. There's a lot of street kids out there. And so I see a lot of things and I hear a lot of things. And I ain't gonna lie, some of this stuff makes me cry at home, you know? Because you think that you have it bad, there's always somebody that has it worse. And even though I was in my funk that I needed to get out of, you know, there was people that had it worse. So Heart of Stoke and what it turned into for me brought me out of this funk. Skateboarding brought me out of it. Being social, being active in the community. I've been very active in the community. We just had Halloween. The whole month of October was crazy. Every weekend had events that we were out doing stuff for the community, doing stuff for the kids. So,
So why do you feel like you needed to go through the bad times to get to where you're at nowadays? So for example, like getting locked up, going through whether it's loss with family members, why do you think like you felt like when times were so hard, you just feel like, you know what, it was really a blessing?
yeah.
Why do you feel that way?
I think that initially things happen because it's part of the plan. It's part of what you have to go through in life, you know. Those were my cards that I was dealt. Now what you do with the cards that you're dealt is entirely up to you. You know, it started off for me with a bunch of realizations being in jail. And then that started to change me. Helping people, you know, in Heart of Stoke changed me. The deaths in my family that put me in that funk, I probably needed to go through that, because if I wasn't going through that, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And where I'm at right now, I'm able to help people that may have been in the type of funk or the type of situation or the type of mindset and feelings that I was in during those times. It gave me hands-on, first-hand experience at life and pain. And with that, it gave me compassion for other people to look for what they may be going through and listen to other people's stories. Because like I said, if you think you have it bad, there's always somebody that has it worse, and I see it every day. And you know, it messes with me hard because I want to fix everything and everybody. I want to take care of all these kids. And I got love, you know, for all of them. And I want their lives to be easier, and I want them to be okay and to be taken care of. So if I can do that, then I'm making a difference. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm doing what I was supposed to be doing with the cards that were dealt to me. And I'm gonna continue to be out there. You know, after this, I'm gonna be out there. Later on tonight, I'm meeting up with this kid that I met last night. You know, like I said, you think you have it bad, there's always somebody that has it worse. This kid had a messed up board. It was a cruiser, all chipped up and broken. And he was launching off my launch ramp. I brought my launch ramp out to the park. And he was almost getting it, but I knew that the proper equipment would make a difference. So I slid my board across to him and I said, try it now. He did it about 3 times and he nailed it. This kid just started skating, doesn't wear skate clothes, regular clothes, doesn't have skate shoes. He had basketball shoes on. But he's fearless, and he went for it. And after about 3 tries, he nailed it on my board. And then he wanted to go higher after that and go off of crazier stuff. But I started talking to him, found out that he's 14, about to have a birthday. And of course, Christmas is coming up. So I was like, hey man, you know, maybe you should ask your family for some parts, some skate parts. Maybe we can put together something for you. You can ride, you know, a professional board. And he said, no sir, we're not having Christmas. My family's homeless. He said that he's living with his friend's parents so that he's still able to continue going to school. And I was like, man, this kid's 14 years old. He ain't gonna have Christmas. He ain't gonna have a birthday. His parents are homeless, you know? That's rough. That's rough right there. You know how kids can be to other people at school, judgmental and mean and pick on you. So, you know, having going through things like that, I felt for him. I called up Vince from Heart of Stoke, and I let him know, you know, this one's pulling at my heartstrings. And Vince said, this was last night, he said, in the morning, I'm gonna send you out a brand new complete for this guy. I sent a couple of videos of him launching off the launch ramp, and I said, he's fearless. And Vince is like, man, I love him already. And so we're gonna take care of him because that's what we do. And you know, it's gonna take a couple days because it has to go through the mail, but in about 3 days, this kid's gonna be riding in style.
In style.
He's gonna have a brand new board, wheels, trucks, set up, everything. And so these are the things that I see when I'm out there. These are the things that I encounter. These are the things that hit my heart. But it's also motivation. It's motivation for me to keep going and doing what I'm doing. I know that I'm doing something right. I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I see the difference. I see the kids getting better at skating. I see the progress. I see the wins that they're taking home. You know, I see the happiness. I see the good feelings. And skateboarding is an amazing sport to be involved in because there's no other sport like it where you have that brotherhood, to where you can go to a skate park in Austin, Houston, whatever, any other city, any other state. You go to a skate park and you're gonna find that brotherhood there. You know, y'all don't know each other, but you guys may be working on the same trick at the same spot. And boom, now you guys are gonna push each other and go with each other and try to get that trick. That's that brotherhood, that's that love, that's that healthy competitiveness that makes it better. What happens when somebody lands a trick? Boom, 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 you hear a bunch of skateboards banging on the ground. That's how we clap. That's how we show love. That's how we say, hell yeah, man, that was dope. I seen you attempt it over and over again. You finally got it. I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
That's that love, that's that brotherhood. So I'm really, really happy to be a part of that. And I'm really, really stoked to be able to give that happiness back to the community and other people so they can experience that too.
So why do you think life is beautiful?
I think life is beautiful because of the growth that we are all going through, that we are all experiencing. You know, like you said, that seed growing out of hard times. There's a lot of hard times around us. We've had COVID. You know, the way that our world is not the best. But we got to stay happy. We got to stay positive. We got to keep going because there's other people that are watching us. There's other people that care about us, and there's other people that love us. And we got to do right by those people. The ones that are here and the ones that have passed on.
Well, Trey, I really appreciate this, man. Seriously.
Much
And
love.
Maniacs, always remember that when life sucks, smile.